Hello Pisces, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm very excited to dive in and get these messages for you today. I've had some pretty significant and consistent energy as of late. It's looking very good. Let's see what today brings. What can you tell us for Pisces, please Spirit? What does Pisces need to know? What does Pisces need to know right now, please Spirit? Ooh, Pisces. Oh. Wow, this is a deck that I haven't used in a really long time. I used to use it a lot. And the thing is, this morning, it's like kind of on a top shelf and I don't really see it. It's all very beige also, so it's not something that's gonna like grab your attention. But it was it was so crazy how the way that it stood out to me. And it's interesting, now that I see these messages, what, what I'm getting from them. I mean, what's coming out right here. Pisces, this morning when I was meditating, I was getting like this energy of like crossed wires, messed up interpretations. It's really funny how clear we think we are in life, or how concrete sometimes we think things are, but there is really hardly anything that is truly concrete. And there is hardly anything that isn't in some way left up to interpretation, where, someone could mean it one way and interpret it completely another. And so that's why we gotta stay away from the extremes just in general as people, because the extremes are what typically get us into trouble. And it's these ideas, right, that it had to be like this, or this is what they must have meant when they said that. Or we don't even go that far. We just sort of take it at the face value that it means to us. And I'm not saying, okay, yeah, we should go around second guessing ourselves all the time, or, whatever, but sometimes things are worth clarifying. And I think that a lot of things really fall through the cracks in communication. Remember that quote I was quoting like a week ago? It's flashing in front of my face, but it's like, between what is said and not meant, and what is meant and not said, much of love is lost. Wow, see, I don't usually memorize things like super specifically, but that is exactly what the quote is. Let me attempt to say it one more time because I think it really encapsulates what I was picking up on when I was meditating, but I would add like a caveat onto it, and between what is misinterpreted, said that we think we said clearly, but is misinterpreted, that is lost in translation. So between what is said and not meant and not said, much of love is lost. I don't know who said that. I just think I saw it on Instagram. Anyway, so on the bottom of the deck, you make me feel ways I've never felt before. So I feel like you have someone who, there's almost this energy of emerging from shadow into light here with this card. And, I really feel one of the most beautiful gifts that we can give another human being is kind of showing them what they're capable of, reminding them of who they really are. I know I've had people do that for me in my life, and I'm forever in debt to them. I feel forever grateful for them and for that opportunity. And that's what I feel around this card. It's actually sort of choking me up, because it's almost as if there was some dead or dormant side to someone that is met the sunshine. and, you know, made them feel something where they hadn't felt before, or hadn't felt in such a long time that they didn't, you know, couldn't even sort of place it. It said, I'm sorry for all the things I wanted to say but didn't. Wow, okay. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells with you. See, I feel like there's something here where, you know, when you think about it, when you like someone, it's like you want to impress them and you want to always know the right thing to say and the right thing to do, and you want to be someone that they're proud of, and you want to be someone that I don't know, they feel lucky to be with, is kind of what's coming through. And when someone is introducing you to a really vulnerable side of yourself, where certainly you are not an expert, but they feel well adept at the skill, you know what I mean? Even though no one really is, you know, we're all kind of taking a risk when we allow ourselves to develop feelings for another person. But maybe it's like, I'm afraid, but I'm determined to do it, versus, I don't know what the hell is happening to me right now, because I have never felt this before. I've never experienced anything like this. Do you see what I'm saying? And so there's this energy of kind of, what if I mess it up? What if I'm not good enough? What if, you know, I can't, this, you know, I'm not, I don't do this right. What if, you know, the walking on eggshells, sometimes we're walking on eggshells because we're dealing with someone who's hypercritical or something like that, and we're afraid of messing up. And sometimes we're walking on eggshells because we feel out of our depth and we don't want to mess it up. You know, just us with us. No one's threatening us if we do mess it up, but we're feeling that way. We're taking it in that way. We're telling ourselves that. Maybe even being hypercritical of ourselves. And then you have this, my life has never been the same since I met you. And then I need you in all capital letters underlined. And then I want to build my world around you. You helped heal some part of someone, and it feels like it's, you know, definitely related to the emotional body. Let's dive deeper here. You made them feel things they've never felt before, and to feel is to remember that you are alive. You know, and, you know, I tell you guys that I have a Jeep, right? And I never put the windows on. I never have the top on. You know, and I feel very fortunate to live in Florida where I can drive my Jeep all year round, but sometimes it's super hot and sometimes it's super cold and sometimes I get rained on, you know, but I don't really care. You know, it always messes up my hair. If you see me out, I always look like a wreck, because if I'm out, my Jeep took me there. Like, there's pretty much nothing I won't drive through in my Jeep. And sometimes when it's cold out, especially, like, my husband and I'll be driving and I will say to him, it's just so good to feel cold. And it's so good. It reminds you that you're alive. It reminds you, it's invigorating and inspiring. And even though cold is something I literally hate to be, if you know me, you know I do not like being cold. I always have a sweater. I'm always, you know, dressed for the cold side of things, never the hot side of things. After living in Florida for over 20 years, you know, my blood is pretty thin. And I hate being cold. It makes me feel vulnerable, honestly. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But when it's cold out, even I will layer on all the clothes in the world and I will go out in the Jeep with my husband and we'll be driving and we'll be freezing. Both of us will be freezing. and the wind is whipping our hair in our face, and we're just, we both just smile and giggle and laugh. And, you know, most people like us don't do stuff like that. You know, like we look at all of our neighbors and their little SUVs and all that. And I'm like, God, they don't know what it's like to be alive. You know, this Jeep really keeps us connected to like life. And you know, I've been caught in the rain with him. One time we were getting plants. I think I told this story. And we were driving home, and Florida gets pop-up showers, and they just pop up out of nowhere. And we were like 15 minutes away from home. And we're driving on a road where the speed limit's about like 55 miles an hour. And the palms are like whipping around our heads and our faces. And then all of a sudden the rain comes down, and it's coming down sideways. And it was freezing cold, and we were both wearing like a t-shirt and shorts. And we were freezing, and we were getting poured on, and the rain was coming down sideways, and neither one of us could stop laughing. It was hysterical. It was so funny. I thought, oh my God, you know, this is something that like 20-year-olds do, not like 50-something-year-olds. And I don't know, it always feels like we're defying everything that we're supposed to be in that moment, like we're rebelling. And it takes you so close to the heart of life, you know? I swear everyone around me is buying a Jeep right now because of how much fun my husband and I have with our Jeep and how much we talk about it. Because it's, you know, and my Jeep is nothing fancy. It's a 2001 or something, early 2000s. And, you know, but like, I go get plants and I just throw them in there. I don't care if the dirt gets everywhere, you know, whatever. It's a rough and tumble vehicle, you know, and it's fun as heck, and I love it. Anyway, that's how I feel. It's like, I tell my husband, we're going to drive this thing till we're 90. Like, I don't care how inappropriate we ever become. Like, I don't ever want to lose this. I don't ever want to lose this feeling. I don't ever want to lose the connection to whatever this is, you know, that it just keeps you young, and it keeps you aware and involved in life and in the moment. And he was like, all right, deal. So we made a pact. We're never getting rid of our Jeep, no matter what. But anyway, that's how I feel with this person. It's like, once you have those experiences, once you connect to something that connects you to life and the feeling of being alive, and that feeling of just, I don't know what it is, when you can't stop laughing, like when you, it doesn't even have to be you can't stop laughing, but it's like you're feeling something. It's taking you to the edge of somewhere. And it's engaging you in a way that you normally wouldn't and don't get engaged, and nothing else really has the same effect. You're like that to this person, and I hate to compare you to a Jeep because, you know, you're a lot more than a Jeep, but you are the vehicle, excuse my pun, for how this person gets in touch with this part of who they are and being alive in that way. And what a gift that is. What a gift that is to remind someone. And it sucks. I know it sucks to be a healer, to be the compassionate one, the empathetic one. You know, I definitely am right there with you, Pisces. You know, I've always been that, and oftentimes it's unappreciated, and oftentimes it's taken advantage of, and oftentimes it's not reciprocated because people don't really fucking know how to reciprocate it. They don't know what it is. They don't know how. You know, without you, you are the bridge to it for them. And that's why this person needs you. All capital letters underlined. Wow. Okay. Wow. Oh my God. Man, oh man. Oh my God. Okay. This is crazy. These readings lately, Pisces, Lord have mercy. Even the meditations leading up to the readings have been really interesting. You have greater purpose on the bottom of the deck. You have integration, but this was upside down. And that is telling me that this is something that's happening within someone. So, you can be the introducer to the thing, right? You can be the person that shows someone what is possible. But people can't rely on you to always be the thing that gets them there. People have to figure out how to get themselves there on their own. And, since I got my Jeep, I have found many ways. It's open. I think it's just all together made my husband and I a lot more fun, honestly, because we are looking for that in everything now. And it's funny because once you start laughing, it's so much easier to laugh. I don't know if you guys have ever had a problem laughing. I think a lot of people that go through trauma kind of do at times. Sometimes they laugh inappropriately, or sometimes they find struggle connecting with that, like letting go and like letting laughter out. But like my husband and I were watching, there's an Owen Wilson show on Apple TV called Sticks, and we were watching that and we were laughing, and then we were like, we live on a golf course. I was like, we should play golf. And so we have been going to the driving range and hitting balls, and because when you watch people golf, it always seems like it's easy and you should be able to golf, but golfing is actually very tricky and very hard. And I quit golfing when I was a little kid and hated it, but I've always loved the atmosphere because I grew up in it. And so anyway, I've been picking up clubs and trying to swing, I'm actually doing it. But I'm trying to improve, I'm trying to get better. But it's funny, but it's like you just start going, oh, this is going to make me laugh. This is going to connect me to that energy. Okay. And then you start looking for it in other places. And then what happens is it becomes second nature to you. You start to integrate it. Once you see the value in it and you have the awareness that it exists and that, it's something that you like and that makes you feel good, you seek ways on your own to connect to it. But it's important for each person to have the capacity to be able to do it for themselves. Because, when you need someone else for anything, that's a codependency. So it becomes toxic and unbalanced. So I see with this integration, especially being in reverse, this is someone trying to, incorporate this into their life, get comfortable with it. And I think what you've done is you've introduced them to their emotional self, to the fact that they can feel things, possibly even deep things, or feel things deeply. And I feel like, sometimes when you're in it, you're enjoying it and you don't realize it. And then our Jeep broke down. Well, it didn't really break down, but there was problem with the spark plug or something. And so it wasn't reliable. So we had to take it to this guy to fix it. And we didn't have it for like 2 weeks. This guy has like a very long wait list. And it was miserable. We were like, we just wanted to get in our Jeep and go. But we couldn't. And, so we had to kind of live without it. It made us appreciate it again on a deeper level. And it made us realize how much a part of our life the Jeep was and how important it was to our well-being, and how much we relied on it. And with this, rough waters into visibility, I feel like when you left this person, they sunk pretty deeply. And, at the bottom there, that's where all the dirt and silt and rocks and yuck and muck is, And when it gets stirred up, it becomes very hard to see through. And I feel that energy here of where, someone felt a bit like they were sinking, like they didn't even realize that they'd been swimming, and that they then found themselves at the bottom of this water, not really sure how to get back to where they were. And I think it was a real rough patch for this person. They may not have said that per se, but I do feel like it was a really rough time for this person. And I feel like they're finally, through this integration, through looking for that energy, or even growing comfortable with that energy, or even realizing and being able to say that's what that energy is, and realizing the value of it, and coming to a place where you're comfortable kind of accepting it, acknowledging it, admitting it. It allows you to kind of start to see things more clearly. It's like, can I live without you? Yes. But do I want to? Hell no. Why would I ever want to live without that? So I do feel like this person is kind of grounding themselves and sort of trying to get prepared. It's like they're back on dry land, and they're just kind of, trying out their sea legs. They're getting used to being this person that has integrated this new sense of self, or this new, I kind of just want to say it's like a new superpower, and they're learning how to kind of master it. They're learning how to kind of use it. And then you have greater purpose here on the bottom of the deck. And it's like this relationship, this connection, and this experience, I feel like it's giving this person a sense that there is even a greater purpose to life and to their life. It's pretty profound. And it's like they're starting to realize, like, oh, whoa, like I was missing a lot of things. And this almost feels like a sunrise that's, the sun hasn't peaked to the earth yet, but just those first rays that let you know it's coming are showing up there. That's where I feel like this person is. It's like they're starting to see the light. They're starting to feel even happy about this new tool that they have. And once they feel comfortable with it, there's no excuse for them to not be there. Wow, when I was saying this is like the sun hasn't broken the surface yet, but you can see that it's coming, that's the exact energy that I saw. Man, I feel the energy of like a person who really missed the signals. People see what they're looking for. They don't see what's there. And sometimes what we see is informing us of how we see things and what can be healed, and what, where the opportunity lies. I'll say that, right? And I feel that here. I feel like someone with the nostalgia and the lies and the unstable, someone is looking back on the past, and they're kind of seeing the things that they told themselves, or the way that they interpreted things, and that maybe they were wrong. Maybe you were showing this person clearly that you were loving and unconditionally loving, and they took it in a different way. They projected their own ideas onto you. Hold on one second. I have to get my granddog. Honey Beckett. Honey Beckett. Honey. Girlfriend. No, come here. Girl. Yeah, good boy, Bhakti. Sorry, I have to reinforce the training, as you know. But it's like they were telling themselves something. It was a reflection of how cold they had gotten inside, how hard and rigid they had sort of become, how they weren't really living, breathing, feeling completely. And it's like you introduced that warmth, that realness, that authenticity, and they weren't there. They weren't ready for that. They weren't expecting it. I don't think they'd ever experienced it really the same way. And it brought about instability. It brought about an energy of like a little bit of chaos. But I feel this person spends a lot of time looking back. And now that they're feeling on their own, now that they're beginning to integrate that experience into them and feel on their own, they're seeing what happened there in a different light. The wire is kind of uncrossing. I don't feel it's completely uncrossed. Like, I still don't feel like they get you on your level, but I feel that they're really understanding that they were way off base. And I really think that's enough to get the ball rolling. Then you have the energy of celebration. So I do feel celebration is like the Three of Cups energy. So it feels a bit like they're hoping for a reconciliation. They're hoping that they can get where they need to be in order to be able to be fully present and enjoy kind of, I feel like, the sweetness of life with you. That you have Be Mine on the bottom of the deck. I mean, they're definitely, I feel like, they definitely want to be with you. They want to build their world around you, it says. Because you make them feel ways they've never felt before. For some of you, this can be a new person who is going to come in feeling this way. Wow, look at that. They messed up. They know they messed up. I think they know they hurt you too in the process. Boy, are they learning some important lessons. You've got the Three of Swords in reverse with the Knight of Coins upright and the Page of Coins upright on the bottom of the deck. And you see this boy is like studying. You know, this feels like this could be someone who was very serious their whole life, or kind of hid away, or maybe even sort of hid who they really were. They may have really been an achiever in school, or I'm also getting like school could have been really difficult for them. They could have tried really hard but not had a lot of success. Like maybe they had ADHD or ADD or dyslexia or something, where it's like they had to be away from all distractions or something in order to sort of like get anything from it. It's like hiding away. And it may have also been a source of shame or something for them, where they started to become ashamed of who they were, and possibly even they got bullied or made fun of because of it. And, you know, bullying does horrible things to the soul. It should absolutely be, like, illegal, in my opinion. Schools don't even do anything about it anymore. But it may have made it so they kind of disassociated from their feelings. Because, you know, when you're bullied, if you show the bully that it affects you, they bully you more. If you are able to disassociate from your feelings and be tough and not show them how it makes you feel, then you can be stronger. then you can, like, not, they'll move on to someone else, right? Because they're not getting anything out of it, or not enough out of it. It's been a very hard journey for this person. You know, I do feel, Pisces, like you created a soft place for this person, and I feel like you were very accepting of this person, sort of just the way they were. You know, whether they were, you know, whether they sort of struggled or whether they were very academic or very studious or very disconnected from their feelings because they were so logical and analytical. It's like you just accepted them, you know, and you just kept, like, being there or showing up and giving them softness. And I feel like they didn't see it, you know. They had all this sort of going on inside of them, or it was like a deeply entrenched way that they were, and they didn't, it's like a part of me feels like they weren't ready, or they didn't know how to open up to receive it, or their wounding wouldn't let them. The way they had learned how to process things wouldn't let them be soft like that. With the Knight of Pentacles, this has been a real rough journey for this person. They've literally just continued to put one foot in front of the other. I do feel like very much that this is something this person knew they had to do alone. Like, they had to figure it out for themselves before they could show up for you. You know, it's interesting because that says a lot about this person and their true character. Because most people, I don't want to say most people, I don't want to be judgmental, but a lot of people will let you do it for them as long as you're willing. They'll let you process it. And maybe you put your foot down. Maybe you said, you know, this is taking too much energy, or this is taking too much from me, or I need more from you to continue to process your emotions for you. And they couldn't do it. But, you know, I do feel with that Knight of Coins energy that there is this sense in this person of, I need to figure out how to do this for myself. Like, I need to be able to do this for myself. Like, I can't, you know, be in a relationship where, you know, because it's like, I have to figure out even my feelings for Pisces. And how am I going to do that if I need Pisces to tell me how I feel, or I need Pisces to figure this stuff out for me? Like, there are just some things, you know, you kind of need to do on your own. And I feel like this person really recognized it. And honestly, I hate to, like, make something that's sort of basic out to be something heroic, but I've just been around the block a lot as an empath, and I think you have too. And you know that there are plenty of people who are like, oh, you're willing to process my emotions for me, or you're there to make me feel better. Well, then that's so much easier than me figuring it out how to do it for myself. I'll just let you do it. I'll just lean on you all the time. So, you know, it could have been a result of you saying something, but still at the same time, that person had to choose to do the work. And with the Knight of Pentacles, this is someone who's pretty determined to do the work. It is not easy. It is hard for them, but they're putting one foot in front of the other, and they're doing it. And with the Queen of Wands clarifying this Knight of Coins, it's kind of like, because to them, you're worth whatever they have to go through to figure it out, to do it. Because they desire you more than anyone else, you know. You make them want to be a better person is what I'm really getting from that. kind of wild. You have the Three of Swords with the Knight of Cups. I think, Pisces, you were hurt by this, but you continued to follow your heart's desire. It's like you knew what you wanted and you allowed that to be your guide. Or you knew how you felt and you allowed that to be your guide, and you saw where it took you. You let that lead you. You lead with your heart. And you continue to do that. And I feel this person has sort of watched you in that process. And there is this energy, of, I kind of get like marveling at it, celebrating it, acknowledging it, keeping an eye on it, even as they pursue what they're pursuing. It's kind of like, I see you still following your heart. I see you still doing, I think they're learning that is how you navigate, that you really follow your heart. You only do the things that you want to do. It's interesting because they may have told themselves that you were there with them for XYZ reason, and it was a reason that made it easier for them to accept, or it made sense to them from their sort of wounded way. And I think because of your behavior afterward, they're realizing that you only do things for one reason, and that is because you are following your heart. And when they look back on the situation with themselves and they're realizing that you were following their heart and it led you to them, it's changing the way, the narrative that they can even think could be true. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it's turning everything on its head. And I think, Pisces, a lot of times you're one to not show your emotion. You'll cry in your pillow by yourself, but you won't tell people that you need them, or you won't tell people how much something is hurting you. And you'll put on your brave face and you'll go right back out there. And so they may not have necessarily seen your suffering, but as they saw what you have done since, or how you have been, or what you've invested your time or your energy towards since, the realization is there that like, oh, whoa, Pisces had feelings for me. Pisces cared about me. I hurt Pisces. And yeah, I think it's a lot. I do. I just feel like a heavy energy around that. And then you have the World card at the bottom of the deck. This is a cycle that is completing, that is wrapping up here. I do feel also, Pisces, you may have many admirers, or there may be a lot of recognition around you now. Wow. This person's definitely thinking about reaching out, communicating with you. I do think that they want to talk about some kind of equal give and take, or they want to present themselves as someone who is capable of, meeting you on an emotional level, of giving you something that they weren't capable of giving you before. With the Queen of Swords, they may feel like you've adopted their standpoint, that like you're a little detached, or it seems like you're detached, or it seems like you're harder to reach. You're not directing that emotional energy towards them anymore. You've sort of turned your back. With the Eight of Wands and the Six of Coins, though, they're definitely reaching out to you, and they're definitely, I think, trying to show you or tell you that they are able to give you something that they weren't before. They're going to reveal something that they have not. Wow, 3 freaking 6s right here. Something's coming into alignment, Pisces. They're going to reveal something that they haven't before. This moon may have really affected them. Some of you may be dealing with a Cancer or a Pisces. A Gemini. I feel like they're going to say that they have made a choice, or that they understand, or they know who you are to them. When they come to you and they say, I can finally give you something that I couldn't before, they are searching for your approval. They are looking for, they are seeking that you will recognize it in them, whether they say that or not. I gotta get my dog. Honey Beckett. Honey. Girlfriend. Girly. Okay. That they've done the work to come into alignment with you. You know how Pisces, it's like, I feel like you wanted them to understand or recognize, or maybe you expected that they did, that you wouldn't be spending your time with them if they weren't important to you, or if they didn't matter to you, or you wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't real. You know what I mean? And for them, they were just not on that wavelength at the time. This is them wanting you to realize the work that they did to come into alignment with who you were and what you had to offer and what you showed them and what you gave them. And it's not that they want you to be like, oh, good job. It's like they want you to see what your like love or your energy is capable of. That's how I feel. They also want you to give them a chance. They want you to choose them, I feel. You got the Page of Coins, the Page of Cups, and the Two of Cups. Or the Two of Coins, I'm sorry. All these cups, I'm like... This person is scared, but they're going to do it anyway. I think they've gone back and forth quite a bit. Honey Beckett, come in here and lay down. I think they've gone back and forth quite a bit. But I think that all the work that they have done is so that they can... oh, wow. Oh. My God. The work that they've done has been so that they can do this. You know, that's not the only reason. I mean, I think they did it a lot for themselves. But there's this energy of, you know, how do you say thank you for that? How do you repay that? And with that integration card in reverse, how do you practice it now that you've integrated it? You know, and you know, it's like it's giving me the example of learning a foreign language, and then, you know, being able to, that someone speaks the foreign language, and that's the reason you learn the foreign language, and now it's like you want to speak the language to them and show them that they were so important to you that you learned to speak their language. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? It's like that. So you have the Page of Coins clarified by the Five of Pentacles and the Three of Swords, and this honestly, seriously breaks my heart. It's telling me that something happened when someone was young. Guys, relax. Relax. I'll be with you in a moment. Everybody lay down. Lay down. We need to lay down. Right here. We're going to lay down. Lay down. Good job. Okay. And we're going to be so patient and quiet, and then we're going to have fun together, okay? Good girl. Okay. So when someone was young, they went through some kind of experience that causes them to trigger now. It was some kind of suffering. I think it was something that made them feel like they were not worthy or they were not good enough. They could have had a really harsh parent. Like I said, they could have been bullied. They may have had a learning disability. I don't know. I keep strongly connecting with that energy though, of like a learning disability and then kind of being made fun of it, for it. Or, you know, the only way we determine our value when we're kids is really like what grades we're getting, if we're smart, if we're popular, if we're good at sports, if we're, you know what I mean? And so it sort of feels like someone who, it's like life kind of, you know, showed to them that they weren't enough. And this comes from a place of being hurt. And man, with that Page of Coins, they're really learning a spiritual lesson about this. They may have even gone through a bit of a healing process around this. But it isn't about sailing a perfect ship. It's about knowing the ship you're sailing and sailing it to the best of your ability. And it feels like this person is learning around that. It's not about cutting the parts of you off that are inconvenient or that hurt. It's about learning how to integrate them, you know, learning how to live with them in peace with them. Okay, and then you have the Page of Cups clarified by the Seven of Pentacles in reverse and the Queen of Cups upright. You have the Knight of Wands on the bottom of the deck. This is telling me that this person feels like they cannot really wait any longer to express themselves, to say how they feel, to try to put this into practice. And, you know, the Page of Cups is a student and a messenger. And so to me, this is someone who's kind of coming to you saying, hey, listen, you know, I'm not really good at this whole feeling thing yet, but like I've been working on it, I've been studying it, I've been trying, I've been figuring myself out, I've been getting down to like the heart of the matter with myself, all because you woke up this part of me and you made me realize that I can't keep going the way I'm going, that there's a different and better way to be. And so it's their desire here that is leading them back to you. It's this, you know, I think they desire you physically, but I think it's also this desire to kind of express how they feel about you and how they see you and the difference that you've made in their life. But I don't feel like they're coming to say you've made this difference in my life. I feel like they're coming to show you you've made this difference in their life. There's a big difference. But just to sort of acknowledge that, you know, this isn't their strong suit. This isn't something that they were good at or even living in. But you reminded them that it existed and you turned the switch back on, and now they have, you know, done something about it on their own. Wow. Wow. I gotta learn to put some glasses back in here, you guys. We have the Eight of Swords in reverse, Justice upright, and the Five of Swords on the bottom of the deck. This person is realizing how their thoughts were defeating them, how their thoughts were keeping them small and kind of keeping them trapped and making them feel sort of like a hopeless case. You know, they got that idea young, and it stuck with them and it carried them through and it trapped them. And they realized that they were playing into it by allowing these thoughts to persist, by being super critical of themselves and by constantly telling themselves that this was their truth. Even though, you know, now as an adult, maybe they could see things differently. You have the Justice card here, which is, you know, an injustice, something that was wrong is being made right. And I think, you know, this person is like, if they feel they hurt you and that all you did was try to give to them and all you did was really try to show them love and connect them back to this part of themselves, there is this, I have to kind of do the right thing. I need to I need to stop this energy of people being hurt and then playing small and being afraid and kind of self-entrapping themselves as a result. Honey, no. No, honey, back it. No. And so I need to do the right thing. I need to stop this cycle. I don't want to pass this on to Pisces. I don't want Pisces believing that they're not worth it because of where I was at. Yeah. Hey, guys, come on. Are you serious right now? Come here. I know what you want. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, sorry. We're having a bone fight over a bone. Territory. The Seven of Swords is clarifying the Eight of Swords in reverse, okay? And this is saying, you know, when I allow myself to be entrapped, when I allow my thoughts to kind of, you know, prison me into a certain belief system that keeps me small, it forces me to be out of alignment because I'm not small. None of us are small. Not a single one of us is actually small. Not a single one of us. God doesn't make any junk. We are exactly the way we are supposed to be. If you have a learning disability, that's what we call it, but maybe it's not a disability. Maybe it's just that society is set up to only go one way. You know, it's like we're all homogenous. Clearly, we all need the same thing, but no, we're not. We're all very different. We do have a lot in common, but we're all very different. And it may not be that there is any disability or any problem with you. It's just that you aren't, the world isn't set up to support you. You know what I mean? And that's not your fault, you know? So like these ideas that we get and these things that we tell ourselves and these things that we allow to cage us in, they're not true. All self-entrapment is self-entrapment. The divine does not entrap us. The divine does not put us on this earth in any way other than the way we are exactly meant to be, to fulfill our mission here. And, you know, we need to kind of get that out of our head. You know, I wish we really could. It's not a competition. It's like, hey, you're here the same reason I'm here. You know, that we have a mission to fulfill, and you're made exactly for your mission, and I want you to be successful. I hope you go out there and freaking do it to the best of your ability, and I hope that you trust that I'm over here trying my ass off to do my job and to do it to the best of my ability, and we're here together, you know. It's not about conforming or being like everyone else. It is about being exactly who you are and being authentic to that and true to that. And it's like this person is learning really big spiritual lessons around this idea that they've allowed these thoughts to make them small. We are all the divine in ecstatic motion experiencing itself, you know? We are all tapped into this limitless creator energy. You know, the only thing that stops us, the only thing that ever blocks us from it is ourself. It is like the Eight of Swords. It is limiting belief systems. That's a belief, and a belief is a choice, and all you have to do is choose different. And, you know, I mean, I get that that's more involved than it sounds like, but it's not. It also isn't. It is also that simple. And so there is this energy of, you know, sometimes someone unlocks something in you that shows you where you're blocked, and that shows you what it feels like when you're not blocked there. And then it inspires you to get rid of that blockage, right? And those people are very important in our lives. And I feel like you were that for this person on some level, in some aspect. And they didn't act in alignment with what they felt, what they saw, what they knew, what was happening because they were locked down in this limiting belief system. And they're realizing, I think, how many times in life they have gone against what they wanted or whatever, because they felt like they didn't deserve it, or they weren't good enough for it, or they were only going to let you down because they were only a failure. You know, because that's the programming that they were learning by what was being validated by society and the world. So, terrible energy. But there is a strong decision here on this person's part to say no more. I will not be defeated by my thoughts anymore. I'm making a very justice. I am making a decision to right the wrong. I'm in control of my ship. I do not have to steer in circles just because someone told me that that's all I was worth or that's all I would ever be. I can straighten my wheel out and I can sail, you know, wherever I want to go, and I can do whatever I want to do. And thus ends a really big cycle in this person's life. And I do feel like they have made a decision to, you know, right a wrong. And here's that Three of Cups celebration energy where, you know, it's like reconciliation. It's like, let's celebrate the end of this in my life, you know, and like there's no one else I want to celebrate than the person that unlocked all of this for me. I'm going to go one more round. There is something so childlike in this energy, so innocent in this energy. So I want to be a good person in this energy. You have the Page of Wands on the bottom of the deck. You have the Six of Swords and you have the Queen of Swords. This person, they have now put their thoughts at ease, and they know what they want, and they have prepared themselves the best they can to be able to accept this journey, the journey that they want to go on with you. They just don't know what you're going to choose. They don't know where you're at. They know that they have probably hurt you because you are someone who leads with your heart, and you are someone who gave them so much. But it's like hoping that you're going to choose them too. Man, look at that. Jeez Louise. Okay, so you have the Six of Swords clarified by the Ten of Wands. This person was so overburdened with their thoughts and with this limited belief system that that it was blocking them, that they couldn't allow anything different or anything new in. And they didn't have space for it. They were all blocked off. And so with the Six of Swords, they're leaving that behind. They're moving to calmer waters, and they are closing out this burdensome cycle. So they're coming to you in an energy that's much more free and clear and has space to, you know, accept something more. And I think, guys, you may have gotten every 6 in this reading. You may have gotten 5 6s here. You at least got 4. And then you have the Queen of Swords being clarified by the Five of Cups, the Page of Wands, and the King of Swords. This person has a lot of regret, possibly about not choosing you before, or about sort of being so cold and detached or logical and analytical, maybe even cutting you off kind of harshly when you ask them to make a choice. They weren't prepared for, and so they know that they sort of deserve this treatment, or that it's justified, like, and they also know that it isn't really who you are, and I think they regret sort of putting you in an energy that isn't really your true nature. But again, we have the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords. We have this divine pair energy. So even in saying this, they're sort of, it's almost this acknowledgement of, I feel like knowing that, you know, we're meant to be together, or there is something deeper here, or, you know, when you really believe that something is meant to be and you trust that, it does make you braver, right? Because you're like, but it's meant to be, you know, but there's something obviously faded, or there's something different, there's something deeper level here. And so while I think this person feels that you may have some strong things to say, or that you may not just open up and welcome them back in, and that they may really have to prove themselves to you, and that they regret really putting you in this energy, they understand why. And there's almost this recognition that your energy matches the energy that they had before, where it's like, you may hold back. But then again, what do they deserve? Because they were holding back. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, you're only matching them. You're not doing it to be cruel, and it isn't your true nature. Do you feel what I'm saying? You have the Page of Cups on the bottom of the deck. I mean, there are so many pages, plus the 8 of Wands in this reading. There's just not a doubt in my mind that a lot of you are going to receive communication if your person is going through this transformation. With the Page of Cups, this is like, I'm going to just speak sincerely from my heart, and I'm going to trust that that is enough. I'm going to show Pisces by saying things that I never would have said before. Wow. Well, let's see what they're going to say, shall we? Water signs, dealing with Pisces. All right. I am overthinking everything. I am trying to figure things out. I just need more time. I want to talk to you. I am ready for more than just texts. Whoops. And my nerves get the best of me sometimes. I don't know why I'm feeling compelled to say this right now, but some people ask sometimes in the comments, like, you know, I don't understand. Is this what they're saying to me? Or like, here's the thing. I don't ever answer those questions, because this is a reading, and it's for your intuition to tell you, to guide you. I am not trying to say, like, I don't know, it's like, it's not that black and white, you know, it's energy, it's reading energy. And so a lot of it, you know, I really hope that you all are kind of listening to your own intuitions as we move through this space together. Like, what resonates with you? What are you already feeling and sensing and knowing? And what is being confirmed by this reading? And really, with a general reading, you have to be so careful, right? Because not every message is probably for you. So you have to know which ones are and which ones aren't, right? If you're dealing with a fire sign, my karmic story is ending. Excited. I won't let you go. Stuck. Our eye contact is insane. When I pulled that card, Stuck, this has never happened to me, but I heard Stuck on You, the song. I got myself stuck on you. I don't know. I don't know what the words are, but it's like, da-na-na. I don't know. Okay. All right. I don't know. But that card comes out a lot, and I've never, ever gotten that before. So just take it as it resonates. All right. And now if you're dealing with an earth sign, you have regret. You give me so much to look forward to. I am working on myself. Good intentions. I am still moved by you. I regret how I handled things before. Blocking and angry. If you're dealing with an air sign, we have passion. Suddenly, all the songs I hear are about you. I thought about reaching out, but I don't know what to say. Your words speak to me like no others can. Guilt, and you will always be my secret love. All right, guys, this is what I have for you today. I really hope that it helps. I hope it brought you some peace and clarity. If it did, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I love you guys, and I send you on your way with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.